This is the OnePlus 12. And I know I say this a lot, but this might just be the best phone that the company has ever made. It has a great camera, they nailed the design, the display is great, and the software, just chef's kiss. Honestly, all of the things that is inside this phone kind of make it feel like, dare I say it, a flagship killer. But there's one huge thing wrong with it, and that just basically ruins everything. Hi guys, my name is John, and this is our review of the OnePlus 12. If you take a look at the design of the OnePlus 12, you can see that there's a lot of similarity to the OnePlus 11. That's really not a negative per se, because the OnePlus 11 really felt good in the hands. The rounded corners, the overall ergonomics, OnePlus basically just nailed everything, and it's not surprising that they went the same route with the OnePlus 12. Probably the only difference here in the overall design is the OnePlus 12 is a little thicker and a little chunkier. But if you don't have the OnePlus 11 side by side, you really wouldn't notice it. And since this is a OnePlus phone, one of the best features that's ever been implemented in a phone is still there. That is the alert slider. This basically just allows you to put your phone in silent, in ring mode, and basically just mutes everything with a simple move of the slider. This is such a powerful feature that is very useful in day-to-day life, especially if you're talking to people, or you're in a meeting, or if you're just simply shooting a A-roll for a YouTube video. You can just move the slider up and down depending on what you need it to be. Right now, it's in silent, so I can talk to you and no calls or notifications will get through. So one of the most polarizing features design-wise for the OnePlus 11 last year was the gigantic camera module. It's back for the OnePlus 12, but honestly, I've learned to love it. I've learned to live with it, and it's actually really good. There's an additional visual panache when it comes to the whole Hasselblad thing on the back. The only thing that I don't like with the camera module design is that OnePlus doesn't really include a case with the purchase of the phone, so you will have to buy your own case to try and protect this gigantic camera module from scratches and from impacts from day-to-day use. So one of the things that has changed for the design of the OnePlus 11 versus the OnePlus 12, at least for the back, is that the OnePlus 12 now features a frosted green back that's matte versus just the glossy back of the 11. It looks nicer, it looks prettier, it looks a little bit more interesting design-wise, visually. Unfortunately, you will have to cover this with a case, which again, OnePlus does not provide you with a protective case when you buy this, which is a little annoying, but it is what it is. So you're just gonna have to cover this nice design with a case, which is a shame. One of the biggest changes that you'll see visually with the OnePlus 12 versus the OnePlus 11 is the display. It's roughly the same size, same resolution, but the main difference is this thing is super duper bright. Its peak brightness is around 4,500 nits, but its typical brightness moves around from 600 to 1,600 nits, which makes it incredibly bright, incredibly easy to see if you're out and about. If you're under direct sunlight, you will have no problem seeing what's on your screen, and it can go really dim too. So if you're, for example, in a very dark environment, you don't want your eyes burned out by the super bright screen, it can go really low if you needed to. And you're getting the same flagship features as you would from any other flagship phones. So you're looking at 120 Hz refresh rate, Dolby Vision, HDR10+, as well as Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2. A new feature for the OnePlus 12 that we really haven't seen before in any other flagship phone is a feature that they're calling Aqua Touch. But basically, it's a way for the display to work when it's wet. You know, when your smartphone display gets wet, you can't really type on it, you can't really use it. It's a big problem when it's raining or when you just wash your hands and somebody just texts you, you can't really use your phone properly while your hands are wet. OnePlus is claiming that with Aqua Touch that all goes away, and in practice it actually works. It's pretty good. It's not perfect. There are still times when the display just goes crazy, when there's just way too much wetness on the screen, or the phone is just way too moist. But for the most part, we found that the OnePlus 12 can tolerate a lot of water on the screen while still working, which is actually something that I have not seen on other smartphones before. One of the definite points of improvements for OnePlus has been its cameras. I know that they've actually been doing a really good job with their collaboration with Hasselblad, but the image quality that we've been getting for their previous phones isn't really quite up to the quality that we usually see on more expensive flagship devices from Samsung, Huawei, or just even Xiaomi. But this year, OnePlus has seemingly managed to crack the code as far as image quality is concerned with the triple camera setup with the OnePlus 12. So the main camera on the OnePlus 12 is a 50 megapixel deal with an f1.6 aperture and OIS. There is a 64 megapixel f2.6 periscope telephoto lens that will net you a 3 times optical zoom, and a third camera which is a 48 megapixel f2.2 ultra wide sensor. And like before, all 3 of these cameras have been tuned by Hasselblad. Basically, you are getting Hasselblad color profiles and other Hasselblad features inside when you are shooting images and videos. You are also getting a 32 megapixel selfie camera out of the selfie cutout that is on the upper part of the display. So how good are the photos from the OnePlus 12? Well, they're actually pretty good. I would say they're flagship grade, but they're on the lower end of the flagship spectrum. The OnePlus 12 is not going to win in a straight out shootout with the Samsung Galaxy S24, for example, but it holds its own in bright and darkly lit environments. But if you're a normal user though, it doesn't really matter. These photos are pretty good. They're good enough to post on Facebook and Instagram. Again, if you're the sort of person that is looking for a great all-rounder phone with a good camera, images produced by the OnePlus 12 are still pretty good. As far as performance goes, you are getting the top-of-the-line processor from Qualcomm. That means Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor with 512 gigs of RAM and 12 gigs of storage. Now, that is the version of the phone that was lent to us. We're not entirely sure how many variants are going to be sold in the Philippines. We'll talk about that later. But as far as what we have, that is the configuration of the phone that was lent to us by OnePlus. I've reviewed enough phones with this particular processor to know that it's able to smash into any app that you can throw at it without any problems. Gaming with Genshin Impact or any other game that you think of, no problems. The main thing about this phone is that it's really good when it comes to battery life. Now, the OnePlus 12 has a 5400 mAh battery versus the 5000 mAh battery on the OnePlus 12. That is significantly more and is what added to the overall chunkiness of the phone. But because of how good the software is on this particular phone, how good the power management is on the processor, we were actually getting around 2 days of regular, very light use on the phone without charging. So that's actually really good. Now, if you are a somewhat heavier user, you're probably gonna get around a day and a half without actually having to charge the phone before you need to plug it to the wall. If you manage to completely drain your phone, OnePlus actually adds a 100-watt fast charger in the box with every purchase, which will get your phone from 0 to 50% in just around 12 to 15 minutes. Now, if you want to fully charge your phone, you can expect around 30 minutes before that thing is fully charged. That is amazing fast charging speed and beating all the other flagship phones, like for example, Samsung Galaxy S24, that's not gonna charge as fast as the OnePlus 12. The OnePlus 12 also has a 50-watt fast wireless charging capability. So if you have a fast wireless charger lying around that is that fast, you can get that phone up and running wirelessly in no time. As far as software goes, this is OnePlus that we're talking about, so you can expect really timely software updates with their Oxygen UI. The phone ships with Android 14. I've had zero issues at all with their software. The software is very mature, it's very good. I like how Oxygen OS is. It's really easy to use. And again, as far as the track record of giving updates or software updates as well as security updates, OnePlus is one of the best out there. So I don't really have any problems with their software. With everything that I talked about, the OnePlus 12 really looks to be a solid phone. But there is a problem, at least in the Philippines: price. So the OnePlus 12 in the Philippines, for the review unit that we are handling or the configuration that we have, will retail for 63,990. No, I did not make a mistake. That is the price. That is a huge jump from the $800 that the OnePlus 12 is available in the US for the same configuration. I understand that brands actually need a little bit of leeway when it comes to pricing their phones, and you can't really expect the same one-to-one pricing for a device that is launched in the US and a device that comes to the Philippines, simply because of all of the taxes and the shipping and all of those things that are involved when bringing a phone to the country. But an almost $400 price jump, or around a 20,000 peso price difference from the price of the US and the price of the Philippines, is really baffling to me. I cannot understand why a phone that was priced like that in the US and other countries would get that much of a price premium when it arrives in the Philippines. If OnePlus actually increased the price of the OnePlus 12 from around 45,000 in the US, if they brought it here in the Philippines and they priced it around 47,000 or even 48,000, I could have understood it. It's one of the things that you have to be aware about once you import a phone. Taxes and things really just add on. But that much, like almost 20,000 pesos difference, that is insane. As the price stands right now for the OnePlus 12 in the Philippines, I think it's a huge miss. It is a gigantic missed opportunity for OnePlus. I really do think that they dropped the ball big time for it. Instead of being an alternative or a cheaper alternative to the super expensive flagship phones nowadays, it's now joined them, and it's really not worth it. So that is pretty much it for me. I am really disappointed with the pricing of the OnePlus 12, but you know, it just happens. So if you have any other questions about the phone that's not related to pricing, please leave them down below. As always, my name is John, and I will see you in the next video.